Welcome to the channel Buzz, where we connect the dots across marketing, partnerships, and the ERP ecosystem. I am your host, Amiee Keenan, and in each episode, we'll explore the strategies and stories, tips, tactics, trends that drive success in the channel. Welcome aboard. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Channel Buzz podcast. I am your host, Amiee Keenan, and as always, we're here to dig into the conversations that are shaping the partner and ISV ecosystem. Today's episode is a good one because we're talking about something every ISV wants to know in regards to building a successful ecosystem, which is what actually works, what doesn't, and what it takes to really build one that drives growth. And to help me break it all down today, I'm joined by someone who's been right in the middle of it. We have Daniel here, the Director of AI Partnerships and Business Development at Gong, with 18 years of experience across the SaaS and B2B space, spanning partnerships, enterprise sales, global ecosystem development. So he's here to help us with all of these questions and insights. So Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I was really looking forward to this.
Me too. Me too. So before we jump in, of course, to all of these wonderful topics, I would love for you just to share a little bit about yourself, your journey, and let the audience get to know you.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, where to start? I think probably one of the most important things that has shaped my career has been surrounding myself by phenomenal people. And most recently, I was brought over to Gong a little over a year ago by my one of my mentors, Rob Moyer. And he actually runs Blue Threads, which is an amazing partner consulting firm. And at Gong today, I lead our Microsoft Hyperscaler approach, and I work with our GSIs, so Accenture, KPMG. And then prior to this, I was at Meta for about 8 years, and I got to work on Workplace, which was our first B2B partner program.
Oh, cool.
And Workplace itself is an enterprise communication tool. And after that, I like to say I was acqui-hired because I came back from paternity leave and found myself in AI, MR, VR, and AR. So Reality Labs is spatial computing, and I got to work on some of the artificial intelligence, the Quest 2, Quest 3, all of the hardware, and that was our second B2B partner program. So I have seen and experienced huge wins, huge losses, and the continuity or the one continuous thread has been learning, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
So excited to dive into some of that today, and thank you again for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And you have such a really cool journey, especially working on the meta stuff. All right, let's dive into the questions. First up, what do successful ecosystems have in common?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's a few characteristics of great ecosystems, and when I think about great ecosystems, just to like set the tone, they don't have to be the NVIDIAs, right? They don't have to be the Microsoft. Some of the best ecosystems are small, growing, disparate players that have a general hub and spoke, and they work really well and they're really fluid. So for me, again, the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things, is that they start with a genuine mutual win. And that means that there is a synchronous or a level of continuity of gain. So it can't be that the platform is growing year over year and it's exponential or log linear growth, and the partners are just showing up for 15% referral fee, or they're just getting some small contractual value.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have a clear path to growing their business, and that could be a net new revenue channel. It could be systematic growth across their platform. I'm sorry, across their product line, but it has to be at parity and in an ideal state to be your partner's best partner. In my experience, your partner has to glean more value than you do, And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a great thing, because if you have 100 partners and you are at the hub of it and you have all these different spokes, if everybody is gaining 15% more than you, then that means the ecosystem is growing as a whole, and that's an amazing North Star to have.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the big things for me. The second one is that the distribution precedes the product. And what I mean by that is the best ecosystems I've seen are built around the best product. Are not built around the best product. And they're built around the platform with the clearest path to making a partner's existing customer base more valuable. And to me, that's the unlock. So it kind of ties into the first one around the genuine mutual win. But it's not, again, about the best product. It's about where is the right partner with the right platform at the right time. And that distribution, again, going back to the hub and spoke, there has to be multiple paths that a partner can take. And distribution, again, is one of them, but also it could be a product feedback loop. It could be something where a new ISV comes into an ecosystem and automatically they have a new way to garner feedback for their product that they didn't otherwise. And then I think the last one, and quite honestly, one of the most important pieces for me, is that trust is the actual infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen some of the best products on earth with the best distribution, and the highest margins and the highest resale value, like all of those things. And really what's happened is they have fallen to the wayside, or they haven't grown at that asymmetric click that we want true ecosystem to grow. And the failure point, the bottleneck, has absolutely been that there is not a true alignment on trust between the partner AE, like the ISV AE,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the platform or the vendor AE. They either don't trust each other, or they don't see the real value, or someone doesn't show up for a call, or someone doesn't do, the bare minimum or the expectation, and then the trust erodes. And then that spreads like wildfire,
Yes.
right? So a large part of my job is making sure that the people at Gong, the people at, whether I'm working with Microsoft or KPMG or Accenture, that everybody is hitting their points and everybody is delivering the value that I've helped set as a threshold. And if not, it erodes every single engagement. And then what you're doing is not building the ecosystem, you're repairing, you're resettling, and it's not fun for anybody. So I think trust is something that I've seen time and time again that is a make or break for any ecosystem.
I totally agree. I also talk about sometimes in my content, they have to know, like, and trust you before
Yes.
anything else. And also this is not a transactional relationship. This is
Yeah.
an actual relationship, partnership, right? And I want to say a lot of ISVs get it, but some don't. And some will, not be as successful if they can't wrap their head around that piece.
Yeah, that's a great point. I forgot what article it was, but I saw this amazing stat that there is a nearly causal but very, very valid correlation between the success of an ISV and its adoption rate. I'm sorry, its engagement and activity in the field with vendors. If they are just on Zoom, if they are just taking or just doing account wipe mapping in a room or on Zoom, it tends to fail, especially for the earlier or the nascent ISVs. And in AI, it's like that's everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Direct correlation around like holding hands, being active, engaging outside of some of the standard practices. So couldn't agree more.
Yes, yes, definitely. That's why I was at a conference this past week, was to get that face-to-face time with those that you don't get face-to-face time with enough. And you just see how powerful it is, because I feel like this was one of the best conferences I've been at in a while, where there was truly great conversations, great learning, great networking, a lot of things to follow up on. And so, obviously video and Zoom and meetings are important, but so is the in-person as well. So,
You know what? It's so funny. If one of the best pieces of advice that I got, and this is, again, you'll like, the common theme here is one of my mentors, Rob Moyer. He said face to face is a hack. And it's so funny because prior to COVID, like, there was no alternative to face, right? Yes, we did have like Zoom meetings or whatever, but now it's funny because where I fill my cup, where I get my, where I achieve my ikigai is at conferences, right? At face to face or walking the halls with our partners. And it's true, you can get so much more done in person.
Mhm.
And I also do believe that there's a place for remote work. I think there
Yes.
ecosystems and cultures that thrive on it. But to me, the ability to, show up for 1 point and be able to hit out 10, it's the
Hmm.
best hack ever.
It is.
Yeah,
I
and
love that.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so next question. How do partner programs evolve as platforms mature?
Yeah, there is, uh, there are 3 stages that I've seen, and they're all really important, and I think for a partner leader like myself, someone that's done 0 to 1 so often, the 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 I always like to say that you never really start at 0 because there's always a reputation that precedes the ISV or the platform, I'm sorry, or the vendor. So at best, you're starting at 0. You're really usually starting, whether it's tech debt or reputational or whatever, you're generally starting at -1. And you have to work your way up to 0. So for me, the first stage is actually just desperation partnerships. And I'm very like, you have to be very clear. Desperation partnerships are not something that you need to be ashamed of. It is, you are starting from scratch. You have to be very conscious of the fact that you need logos, you need coverage. Um, you don't have the appropriate human capital expenditure yet. The headcount, because you haven't proven out the ICP, you haven't proven out the methodology. So stage 1 is desperation, and anybody that ignores that is going to learn that lesson the hard way. And I have, like a like a true Taurus, have tried to run that wall without, giving it the appropriate thought, and it's failed time and time again. So you just have to recognize that stage 1 is desperation, and it's extremely important to understand that first phase of the journey. The second stage is the rationalization, and that's where you see and realize that 80% of your partner influence revenue is coming from 20% of your partners, and you have to start making the hard choices. Um, that's why I love the book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And one of the big takeaways is that you have to do things that don't scale in order to scale. So you have to move from having, in some places it could be 10, in some places it could be hundreds of partners, and truly identify which are the partners that you need to prioritize, you need to invest in.
Hmm.
One of the takeaways that I had from Meta is this mindset around ruthless prioritization. And ruthless prioritization means that it's not true prioritization unless it really hurts. So that leads me into the third stage, which is ecosystem gravity. One of the later stages where partners are coming to you. You're no longer recruiting. You're no longer, doing those events where you're trying to get the pull. But now you're in the. I'm sorry, you're not pushing out
Hmm.
that. You're in the pull. You're in the selection stage. And this is when the program needs to shift from a sales motion to a platform motion, and you stop thinking about partner influence deals, and you start thinking about partners building use cases specifically around your platform, you as a vendor. Um, but I think to tie this all together, the biggest mistake is treating each stage with a playbook that is static, and what works in stage 1 is not going to work in stage 2 and stage 3. So it's about being nimble. It's about being cognizant of the operational mindset, the commercial mindset, and also that your product's going to shift and that your partners have to match your energy across those stages.
Mm-hmm. But when you get to that last stage, it feels really good.
It does, but it doesn't always happen. And I know a lot of strong vendors and ecosystems as a whole that are, between 2 and 3, and it's just about realizing and being uh, prudent with
Uh-huh.
your time, your energy, and just being conscious of like what your partners need. And if you can't get to 3, like maybe it's time to pivot. But if you can't get to 3, it's also just maybe this is a good state for you right now.
Yeah, exactly. Although, and one thing I also see, based on these stages is that a lot of the times ISVs think that's going to happen overnight, like it's going to be an overnight success. And I try to convey that there's no timetable, right? This takes time no matter what stage you're in. And you just have to do the work to get through each stage.
I love that. It's so I do some consulting work on the side, and I get to work with some amazing companies. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like the way that I frame it is, as you look at building out a partner program, it is not a function of timeline. It is a function of gravity of evolution, and those are gating functions.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be 0 to 3 months, we do X, and month 3 through 6, we do Y. It is, have we met the criteria for our customers? Have we done the criteria for these ISVs? So I couldn't agree more. I think if you try the former, you're just going to continuously fail. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I've multiple times.
Mm. Okay, next up, what are some mistakes companies make when trying to build an ecosystem?
Yeah. There's I had a list of, I think, 15, so I chose like 4 or 5. I think the biggest mistake is that companies tend to launch a partner program before they have PMF, before they have product market fit. That goes back to one of the earlier points about distribution has to precede the partner. Distribution has to precede so many aspects. So I think partners at best are going to amplify the foundation, the roadmap that the product has already set. So if you don't have PMF, if you don't, and a subset of that is the ICP,
Mm-hmm.
then you're setting up the partners for failure. And any partner that I work with worth their salt is going to ask me immediately, do you have PMF? Can you prove it? Who is your ICP? Can you prove it? So those are right. Like, and if I can't, then this is a premature conversation, and we're all going to lose. So let's take a step back. The second piece is building the program around your sales motion instead
Yes.
of your partner business model. So if your entire program is designed to generate referral leads for your direct team, then you've built a channel, not an ecosystem.
Exactly. Yes.
And real ecosystems generate revenue for partners that your sales team never sees. And that's not a bad thing, because in an ideal state, like the NVIDIAs of the world or the Microsofts or whomever, like even at the hyperscale level, it's not about um, the the true value, the true unlock is not just about like the AE making their money. It's about the AE making their money, which is pertinent, which is foundational to the success of the vendor. Um, but it's also about, can the ISV now do a deployment? Can they do enablement? Can they grow their business based on this net new customer? And the AE never sees that on the vendor side, but
Mm-hmm.
the partner AE and the CRO at the ISV, they see that. And that's where they're like, hey, I have to bring you into this vendor. I have to bring you into like this this ecosystem because it's a true unlock.
Yeah, love that.
Um, I think another one is going to be confusing the activity with ecosystem health. There are numbers of partner signs, certifications, co-marketing, assets published, events executed. Those are vanity metrics. That is not indicative. Those are lagging indicators of ecosystem activity, not ecosystem health. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, partner sourced ARR, partner retention, and the number of partners hitting their own revenue targets
Yes.
are the real North Star metrics. And anything else, again, is just vanity metrics that some of the biggest, but not the best ecosystems are leveraging. And I think that's causal in nature. And I think the last two, and I've this one has just come up a lot in my career, but under investing in partner success post signature.
Yes.
So you
See that.
have the partner signed, they're getting a good margin. Now what? Right, and that's the same
Right.
sale side,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you've onboarded a customer. Now what? Um, so I think the biggest learning for me, or failure that turned to learning, is just turning it on doesn't mean setting them up for success. So how are they enabled? How do you have, and this is for me, I use AI in almost every facet of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I swallowed the AI pill a while ago. And how do you use AI to engage your partners? How did they use your product and immediately get reminded, oh, hey, I need to do X, Y, and Z, or this customer has, gleaned this certain amount of information, um, and this now would be a good time. Or how do I use an agent to facilitate that? So it's not about hiring a sales enablement person and then it's done and they have X certification. It is about making sure that they are continuously gleaning the same product value that you as the direct vendor have, or the platform, and that they're growing their business. And there's a multitude of ways to do that. But for me, there's a phenomenal amount of AI tooling you can use to set your partners up for success. Um, the last part, and this is one of the most important things, especially with what I'm seeing with the GSIs today, especially in the world of OpenAI and Anthropic and Microsoft, is that GSI first thinking is the wrong stage. Until you hit 50, 75 million in ARR, you're not setting yourself up for success by leading with the GSIs. They're not
Mm-hmm.
build a center of excellence around you. They're not going to build the right motion, the right engagement. So if you're leading with the GSI strategy, you're optimizing for something that's going to take at best 18 months. So I think the most important thing is understanding the ecosystem around the GSIs or the activity space. And those could be RSIs. Those could be like geo specific SIs. And
Mm-hmm.
I understanding that um, there are slaloms, there are Accentures, there are KPMGs, there are Bain, there are McKinseys. Understanding which one of those you're targeting, you might get some more near-term wins out of it. But again, at best, you're looking at 18 to 24 months before you
Mm-hmm.
realize all of that. And it's hard to quantify. And at best, you're going to qualify in an earlier timeline.
Yeah. And to go back to your part about, you sign up this new partner and what's next steps. And sometimes I feel what happens is that, everybody's all excited about this relationship. We have this kickoff call, we have all of these deliverables, and then slowly they all start fading away and fall flat. And we as an ISV don't follow through on all those different pieces. And then we move on to the next partner. So I feel like that happens a lot too. And so that doesn't help make a successful relationship at all either. And then the partner doesn't want to work with you.
And then in this AI space, which is growing so fast, there's so many shiny things.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the I forgot who dubbed it, but it's the PPP, the Peter Pan partner. There's always like this next big shiny thing ahead of me, and I don't want to buckle down and stay and do the work that I need to get past gate 1 or gate 2.
Right.
So I think it's extremely you need to be extremely intentional about keeping the partner engaged,
Yep.
and make sure that they have the content. And I think if you're not doing it with AI, and there's some amazing tooling, again, like no skin in the game, but you can spin up like a dust agent, and that dust agent can use your corpus of information to set up your partners for success. So when they're going in, they can have that agent completely, craft the content and set up a new AE or a new partner AE. So I think if you're not using AI, you're already behind the ball, because AI is table stakes at this point.
Yes.
So it's about crafting that AI to accelerate your engagement, and make sure that there's daily active usage, monthly active usage,
Mm-hmm.
what have you.
Exactly. All right. Last but not least, what can smaller ISVs learn from a hyperscaler strategy?
Yeah, this is a really good. I mean, this could have been a podcast in itself. I think first and foremost is understanding the true economic model of a hyperscaler, and that they treat their ecosystem as a product, not a program, right? It's not a nice to have. It is literally a SKU, right?
Yep.
So AWS Marketplace, Azure Co-sell, Google Cloud Partner Tracks, these are engineered systems. The documentation, the onboarding, the incentive structure, the co-sell tooling, it's all built with the same rigor as a core product. They have, instead of product engineers, they have platform engineers. So small ISVs tend to treat their partner program as a spreadsheet and a Slack channel, and they need to have the rigor, the mindset, the investment into a product, uh, in a very contractual way, the same way
Mm-hmm.
that the hyperscalers do. So that first and foremost is it is a product that you are investing in. It's not a program that you are tangential to or you're part of.
I love that.
Hyperscalers invest in the bottom of the funnel for their partners, so they don't they don't just get partners in front of buyers, they help partners close.
That's huge.
So co-sell motions, joint reference architecture, market deal structuring. If you're a smaller ISV, you have to ask yourself, like, are you actually helping your partners win, or are you just giving them a logo to put on your website?
Mm-hmm.
So top of funnel, again, table stakes, like how do I bring leads to you? How do you bring leads to me? But the biggest thing is that hyperscalers help navigate and move towards bottom of funnel. And rather than being the gatekeeper, they are the ones that unlock the gate. And to me, that's critical. Um, they also create tiered accountability without burning relationships. And what I mean by that is you have advanced select, the tiers, premier, advanced, and select. They aren't just symbols. They determine support levels. They're
Right.
very clear, right? Like I think the thing that we all do is we want to be friendly with our partners. We want to be seen as being like one of the best. And we often think that that means being friendly, table stakes, but being candid, being transparent around like what you're going to get from me and what you're not going to get from me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's support, that's product, that is early insights into the product roadmap. And last but not least is commercial. Like you're not going to move from uh, silver to platinum just because we're friendly, just because we go out for dinner, just because you made an introduction. That's not going to bypass. There are clear gating functions, and I think ISVs need to learn. That's one of the best practices from hyperscalers. And
Right.
again, that's because they're massive. That's because they have, trillions in market cap. But it is something that we can take away as ISVs that we need to replicate. Um, I think a big one too is you need to build for the customer, not for the partner.
Mm-hmm.
So AWS Marketplace isn't built to make AWS's life easier. It's built to make the end customer's procurement easier, right? That's something that we
Right.
don't say enough. And I actually wrote this one down yesterday because I was at one of our partnership leaders, Greg Portnoy from Euler. Um, a man, Manish, that I had just met, he's like, everybody thinks that's the product. It's actually not. It's just the procurement facilitation. So I think like when you design your partner program around your partner convenience, you get mediocre activation. So when you design around making it easier for partners to deliver value to the end customer,
Yes.
that is the flywheel.
Yep.
So big one for me. And
Me
then
too.
I think like last but not least is like you have to pick your ecosystem bets early and go deep. And if I was starting at a new company tomorrow, I I would go very, very deep with a few select customers. I'm sorry, few select partners. And I would make sure that I understand every aspect around their business. And I would decrease the distance and have them sit at my office. I would sit at their office. I would listen to every Gong call they had. I would listen to every piece of feedback they had. And once I learned their pain points, their wins, the benefits, the losses, the every aspect of strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat that they're perceiving,
Mm-hmm.
I would then go and map out my next new partners based on where my product is and what the partners perceived as valuable and not valuable. So I didn't have to go as deep with the next set of partners. So it's about investing early, investing often, and decreasing the friction for future partners. And that's um, the old saying, you're standing. I'm here today because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. Um, all of that, and I think if in order to be your partner's best partner, you have to do the upfront work, show your investment, contribute to your sweat equity, and those partners are going to want to come back and work with you no matter what vendor or what ecosystem you're working with.
Yes, exactly. And one thing I just want to bring up before we wrap this all up is like the whole tier program. There's a reason you have a tier program, right? It's you're going to treat every partner differently based on the tier. And sometimes I feel like we just get so wrapped up that we need leads, we need leads, we need partners to bring us leads that we forget all of the other stuff that's so important to be able to get those leads, you
Yeah,
know?
and I just think being clear about that is uh, it sometimes feels a little like, hey, you haven't met your threshold, and that feels like a little dirty, grimy. Why are we focused on the money? But no, that's why we're here, right?
Yes.
We are here to deliver value to our customers. We won't have customers if we don't make money, and that's that cyclical flywheel.
Hmm.
So let's be transparent. Let's be honest about why we're here. We love what we do. That's great. Yes, we get to do dinners, but if you're not meeting expectations, then you're going to get only a subset of my time and a subset of my value, and more importantly, a subset of the ecosystem value.
Yep, exactly. Wow, this is so powerful. Thank you
This
so much
Thank
for joining me.
you for having me. This is great. I
Yeah.
love it.
So many great insights that you shared, really about building and refining your partner ecosystem. So everybody out there that's in the partner ecosystem just needs to watch this and take notes, because this will only help you build out your partner program even more, even better, and get the results that you want from partners as well as they get the results from you too. So definitely a mutual relationship. All right. Well, thank you again. And thanks everyone for listening in and tuning in to the Channel Buzz podcast. Don't forget to follow and share, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.